Some wild shit is going down in Saudi Arabia right now. Here are the basics. Hundreds of people have been detained, including members of the royal family. Some of the country's wealthiest individuals have had their bank accounts frozen, and there was a helicopter crash that claimed the life of a powerful prince. All that happened on just one crazy weekend. This is oil-rich Saudi Arabia, surrounded by regional rivals. More on that in a bit. There's a version of this video that starts in 1932, when the kingdom was founded. You could do a whole long-winded segment on it. Perhaps John Oliver will do that segment this weekend while we're still editing this piece, and we'll look like idiots once again. Be creative. But I'll cut to the chase. This current craziness in Saudi Arabia centers around this dude, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Crown Prince means he's going to be the next king. His dad, the current king, King Salman, is 81, so the 32-year-old Crown Prince might find himself on the throne pretty soon. I was going to say 32 is pretty young to be a king, but then I realized LeBron James is also 32. Now, the Saudi royal family is really big. We don't know how many kids King Salman has, which is code for he's got a lot of kids. Plus, there's nephews and cousins and even old as dirt brothers who have a legitimate claim to the throne.
I'm gonna be king of Fried Rock.
In fact, the Crown Prince, who often goes by his initials, MBS, would be the first king in nearly 70 years who isn't the son of Saudi Arabia's founder. He's a grandson. And because he's so young, he could be the longest serving king in the country's history. In early November, citing long-term corruption, the Crown Prince had hundreds of individuals detained. They won't tell us who these individuals are, but reports indicate it includes at least 11 princes. So all of these folks, well, not the king or the Crown Prince, but all of these folks and a whole lot more are holed up in the Ritz-Carlton in Saudi Arabia's capital. It's unclear if they're getting loyalty points. Those detained include Prince Al-Walid bin Talal. He's been described as the Warren Buffett of the Middle East and holds large investments in Apple, Citigroup, News Corp, and Lyft. Al-Walid famously had a Twitter war with Donald Trump, which reminds me he also owns part of Twitter. This guy has his money spread all over the place. He even owns part of Beme's parent company, Time Warner. Others detained include this guy. He's the Minister of Economy and Planning. This is the former Minister of Finance. This guy is a media mogul. And this is Osama bin Laden's half-brother. Now, all these guys under 5-star hotel arrest, they've also had their bank accounts frozen. That's billions and billions of dollars. And on this same weekend that they were all detained, there was also a helicopter crash that killed a prince whose father was once the Crown Prince. Now, is it possible that the timing was just a weird coincidence and that it was an accident? Of course. It's also very possible that these guys are crooks. They're wealthy, powerful, well-connected. I tend not to get too surprised when those people wind up being bad guys. And for what it's worth, the Saudi government claims they're responsible for corruption that's cost the country in excess of $100 billion.
$100 billion.
But forget these guys for a second. The Crown Prince, MBS, doesn't exactly have a stellar record when it comes to tolerating dissent. He's arrested journalists, writers, religious leaders, basically a lot of people who disagree with him. The Crown Prince has consolidated his military power too. He recently fired the head of the country's National Guard, yet another rival within the royal family, who's thought to be an important check on the soon-to-be king. And it's actually an important moment in Saudi military history. They're involved in a conflict with Yemen, where a horrific humanitarian crisis is happening. The kingdom is constantly at odds with their arch rivals, the Iranians. They're also boycotting Qatar, and have been accused of forcing Lebanon's prime minister out of office. Oh, and while all that is going on, their economy is also in decline. Their GDP is down about 15% in just 2 years. Now, our very capable intern Bella has a friend in Saudi Arabia, and she texted him and was like, "Are you worried about what's going down with all these arrests and all the shady stuff?" And he was like, "No, they're billionaires, who cares? I like the Crown Prince because he's so progressive." So I was just paraphrasing there. But compared to his extremely conservative predecessors, the Crown Prince is pretty progressive. He's going to allow women to drive in 2018. He's curtailed religious discrimination. He's allowed concerts in the country, which have long been forbidden for some reason. And they're even going to open up a Six Flags. All of this is designed to bring the country into the 21st century, when oil profits will no longer be the main source of the region's wealth. Saudi Arabia is even opening up their country to immigrants, or at least this one.
My name is Sophia, and I am the latest and greatest robot from Henson Robotics.
Thanks for watching, and see you next week.